Okay, so today we're gonna transform the wife's JK stock bumpers. Has a 2.5-inch budget lift, 33-inch tires. It's a sport, so it's got open differentials, day and 30 in the front, day and 44 in the rear. Been a pretty good Jeep. Got a little boo-boo back here in the back corner once, so we'll be changing out that bumper and we'll be changing out this front bumper. We're going to be putting on a Motobilt front and rear bumper, and then we will accessorize them also. So this is the start of the project. So that there is the before. We're going to wind up raising it even more probably, and it's definitely getting bigger tires down the road here when these ones wear down a little bit more. We're either going to a 35 or a 37. We haven't decided yet. And of course it'll need to be re-geared. It's got the highway gears in it, manual transmission, and she used to commute with it, so we didn't want to do something real radical that would eat all of her gas mileage up. When they had the stock tires, I was able to get 23 miles a gallon with it, and when we put these tires on, we can get 17.5 now. And I believe if we go to a bigger tire without gearing it, probably won't be able to pull the boat up this driveway anymore. Hills never show very good on the camera, but got a little bit of a grade there, and then you got to pull out on the road, and you can't see too far down the road that way. So you want to have some power, and then of course on the boat ramps you want to be able to have the power to pull out, which you could always put in low range on the boat ramp and get that grunt. But if we put those bigger tires on, we'll probably start using it a little bit more, go do a little exploring. So it'll definitely need to have some gears and at least one locker. So there's our thoughts for the future of this. And now we'll just get ready to pull it in the shop right here, and we will start the upgrade. Pull it in there next to the General and go from there. Okay, here's the front bumper that's going to be going on the JK. Got it all powder coated. You can see right up here we added some tabs. They don't come with those. That's for a light bar that we're going to put on here. And then there's a winch tray for it right there. So you mount that up to the frame. Then you put the winch in, then you slide this over that. And we also have a back bumper here. I don't know if I can show you this without moving everything. Let's see. You get kind of a glimpse at it. You get a little teaser shot. There's what the back bumper looks like. Got it powder coated also. Okay, so we'll take those bumpers there, take them over to this Jeep, and we'll start tearing it apart and throw them on, see what the transformation's like. Here's what we got down low. That's what it looks like. And we won't have those driving lights anymore, so I'll probably try to hook that switch up to run the light bar that'll be on the front. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's the front bumpers about ready to come off. You see all these brackets here. These are backing brackets that are on the back side. I'll show you in a second. These are all the bolts holding it in. Just put a bunch of extensions on the impact. And right up under here, let's see here. You get that spot right there. I have one of those brackets and then those nuts. I'm just taking the whole thing off as a unit. Got the lights unplugged right there. And right over there, you can see the bracket and some bolts. Same thing over there. Not much to it, really. So we'll go ahead and just should be able to just grab that and lift it off. So let's see, I'll set this over here for a second. And let you see if I have any kind of problem. That's pretty easy. It's pretty light. Not much to it. So there we go. We got that. Pop these things out and get that off. And then I may clean these up a little bit, squirt a little paint on them. Then start assembling the new bumper on there. So I'll bring you back when I get to that step. Okay, so we've got this bracket right here. Got two holes on one side, one on the other. That goes right over the frame rail right here. And you've got these captured nuts. And you slide these up in there, bolt that there, and you slide some in here. Hold this back. Slide some down in here to hold that. And then this bolt hole here on the top, that goes right through the top of the bumper. And you take this winch plate right here, and you tip that up. So you're inserting this end of it first. It goes right up through here, and then you roll it up, and that's in there, and it goes right over this area here, and it has some bolts that line up over here. And then the bumper itself has bolts that are captured on it, and it slides right over this. Bolts through here with some nuts and bolts right there. So I forgot about painting these. I don't want to put them in raw, although the bolt itself will be raw. I just can't bring myself to do it. So I'm gonna squirt a little paint on these so they got a little protection. And I'm probably gonna wipe this down and squirt a little bit of paint on that before I continue with the assembly process. So I will gather some stuff up and get that step going. Okay, I got the frame kind of touch-up painted. It looks a little fresher, a little clean. And I've got went ahead and squirted a little paint on the bolts and the flat washers. And then I got those blind nuts that go in the frame. So I know that I'll mess the paint up a little bit on these bolts when they go in, but then I can just take a little brush and touch them up a little bit. Be easier than having to paint the whole thing. So we're gonna grab this piece right here, and we'll go ahead and take that and set it up in the frame and see how it goes. Up like that, twist it in, get this up, and then I'm just going to put a 1/2 inch bolt in here temporarily. Okay, so these are just some 1/2 inch bolts I had around. Just put in there temporarily to hold the hold this tray up in place. And then I can take these U-brackets and drop them over. You got the single hole that goes on the outside here, double hole goes on the inside. So this just slides right down over that. And then you gotta put your blind nuts down in there, and that's what'll hold the back of the tray up. And then when the bumper slides on, this holds this. So I'm thinking if I get those in place, line all these holes up the best I can, and then I'll snug those up good. Maybe put a jack under here. No, I can't do that because the bumper goes down underneath here. Well, we'll see. See if I can just hold it with those back there. So, just take these here blind nuts and these. This goes against the steel. And drop them down in the hole. Maybe I can do the outside one there first. Where's the hole at? It's right there. Oh, I just got a little bit of powder coat built up in the hole. Okay. Just raise that up in there. I'll have to screw this in because that powder coat's a little thick in that hole. Okay, so that captured that nut in there. So I got that started. So then I'll do the same thing in here. And they say some needle nose pliers can be handy. Because, let's see if I can show you this here. This area right down in here, it's pretty tight. So you got to try to get one of those nuts down in there. Well, actually two of those nuts. And yeah, it looks like that's probably the best way to go, is slide it in from the top. So I'll turn the camera off here and I'll try sliding that in there. And if all goes well, we'll move on to the next step. If there's some little trick I learned along the way, turn it back on and let you see. Okay, so what I learned by that other side is I can get my hand in underneath here and get up to hold the blind nut for this one. The top one, even though it's right there, because I want the blind nut part to be down in that frame part, I'm taking a piece or some skinny needle nose. I'll slide it down in here, line it up with that bolt, and then let's get that started. And then I grabbed a socket so I can put on there. A little easier to turn than trying to grab that nut. And there we go. That one is started. So that's not that bad. You get those in there. You gotta do a little bit of wiggling around. I had to lift this other side up a little and stuff to get the bolts to go through the hole. Not too bad. So I'll put the outside one in there. Find my happy spot with all these holes. Get them lined up. And I'll snug those and then move to the next step. Okay, so I also have this new Badlands Apex 12,000 pound winch that we're going to put on this Jeep here. So what I'm wondering, I'm looking at this right here, and I see the amount of space I have from the back of this to the front of the grill and right in there, and the measurements say that there's not a whole lot of room there. It would be easiest in one way to stick that winch in the hole first, then slide the bumper on, because I'm not sure if there'll be enough room once you slide this bumper on here to drop that winch in down behind there with that bull bar. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll go ahead and open this thing up. I'll give you a quick peek at what's in there, and then we will we'll do a test fit. Drop it down in there, see what it looks like, and then maybe I'll take it back out, set the bumper on, see what that looks like. Okay, so this wasn't in my original plan. I was going to do a winch later on down the line. They give you a bunch of nice stickers, a nice guide to winching. I peeked in this book last night, so color and everything, so good for people who've never done any kind of winching. Nice owner's manual. So in the top here, we've got this nice hook comes with it, and we have a wireless or wired remote. You plug the wire in here, plugs into the top machine, or you push and hold this button and you go wireless. It's got a little magnet on the back. I wonder if these are stainless. They are stainless. Okay. So it's got a little magnet on the back so you can set the thing somewhere. Nowhere to set it on the general because everything's plastic. Okay, so here is the wire. We're doing the wire on the controller. And what I had done is I just stopped in there at Harbor Freight going, well, I wonder if they have an aluminum hawseye to put on the front of the bumper. You know, for now and down the road when I get a winch, I can change it out for whatever winch I put in, or leave that and use it with whatever winch I buy. And I had not looked at any of this stuff before that. So I walked in and I saw that, and I'm like, that's not bad looking. You know, I kind of wish it didn't say Badlands all across it, but, you know, it isn't bad. So I look at that and I start looking at the prices of everything. All their winches, all their different options, and then you see this one, and it comes with everything. And at the price point, you start looking at one of their little smaller, more traditional, old school look winches. You know, this one looks more like the newer style of the Warren and those big brands. You know, it's got a good look to it. But it comes with everything. When you start doing the math, so even if I was to use one of my old winches, I really wanted to do synthetic line on this Jeep. Well, my old winch doesn't have synthetic line. So by the time you buy that, and then I did want to do some kind of maybe a factory 55. Well, they kind of got this design where it lays in there flat like that. Wow, when you start doing the math on it, and then you're able to use the 20% off coupon on top of it, it's $5.99. Then you can use the coupon. It comes in under 500 bucks. So let's see if I can show you inside here a little bit. That's what it looks like inside the box. So I'll see if I can get that thing out of there, and we'll set it in the hole. I guess I could show you this stuff first. So it comes with, I gotta move this out of the way. It comes with a kill switch. It comes with, this is a little box in case you want to take this top part off, you can remove this. It comes with this relocation bracket, and when you take that off, you can bolt it on here, put it where you want it. This is a little cover that goes to where the connections are under here, and then you got all these wires, comes with the wires. So you want to relocate this and put it over here, you know, like if you have a big truck where you can hide things. So that's kind of neat. Not something that I plan on using on this setup, but it's neat that it comes with everything. Bunch of wire. What we got over here? So over here we have, there's another ground wire. Okay, so everything's out of the way. So I will probably pick that up, drop it in the hole, and then I'll show you what we got. Okay, so this thing is tight. So if I slide this thing forward a little more, which I'll have to cut these bands to be able to do that. Cut that band, zip tie, slide it through the hole. Right now, the mounting bolts on the bottom are just barely. You could probably get a bolt in them. But I need to slide this forward what I can, and that's going to give me just enough room for this to go on and clear the grill. So my problem here on this Jeep with this bumper is this wire coming out of the back is right there. And there's not enough clearance. So when I started looking inside here, it looks like where it connects down in this hole, I can probably drill a hole right here, maybe put a little grommet, and bend the end on that lead. Right now it's just a straight lead with a flat spot for the bolt. So I can either bend it at a 90 or cut that off and put a new one on that is at a 90 and bring it out right here out of the side. And then when I reinstall this on here, when I reinstall that, instead of that wire going out to the grill, I can get it to come out right here. And then I should be able to loop it around and maybe take it in through here, or if I want to go down and up and around. But it looks like right now that's my best option, is to modify this cover. There's not really anywhere good to put this thing, even if you use the relocation bracket. There's nowhere good under the hood. So it's going to be really close, but it looks like it'll work. So that'll be where I go from here. So, and I am going to put this in first, and when I put this in, then I can roll it forward underneath the beam of my shop. I can tie a line around these spots right here on the winch. I can put a come along on it, hold the pressure up a little bit so that I can pull these bolts out. That way when I take the bumper, I should be able to slide it right over, put the bolts in, because with the weight of this, if I was to pull these things out, I don't really want to tighten these other bolts super tight, but I don't know that they would hold it by themselves anyway. So I'm going to hang it from the rafters and then slide the bumper on at the end. Then I would modify this. But we're going to have to call it a night and continue this tomorrow. Okay, we'll see you then. Alright, let's see how this goes. Now we gotta get that through there. Drop this down in here. That's not that bad. Okay, and then we gotta center it up. What am I hitting? Oh, I'm hitting the frame right there. Okay, I guess I gotta go this way. Well, that's center the Jeep. Center it up for that. I was looking at the opening. Okay, that's in the ballpark. So, got that like that, and then go underneath and put those bolts, and go from there. Okay, I think I'm gonna go for it. I just got those bolts in there, and I can wiggle my temporary bolts. I was thinking I was gonna have to hang it. It seems to be sitting there okay. And I've got a nut and washer sitting up here. So when I slide the bumper on, I'm gonna reach around. So we can see right here, this bolt's actually not doing anything. This one has very little pressure on it. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't fall at the last minute. Okay, so now I'll try to slide this on there. Gotta line up all those holes. So you can see you can see the bolt holes through here. Yeah, I don't know what's giving me resistance over here. Frame piece is a little bit. Okay, why isn't it going? Well, that says it needs to go that way a little bit. This. That says it needs to go down a little bit. What is holding it? Where's my flashlight? Okay, that's right there. That's right there. It's all really close. It's just gotta wiggle everything around a little bit. I gotta move this a little. Man, this almost looks like I should cut these frame rails off. Right here. Here, I'll show you this. These frame rails right here. Got these tabs sticking out on each one. That'd look better if that was gone. The bolt's right below there, so then that bolt would be pulling on a straight piece. So it would lose a little bit of its strength for the load pulling out. But even if I was to cut it at an angle, but everything is right there. These bolts are so close. It's just a little resistance. Move it right in there. It's got to raise that up. It's dragging on the bottom, dragging on the top. I was also kind of wondering, you see how this is kicked up a little right there. Wondering if it'd be beneficial if I was to cut that off. Just let it slide in there a little better. Although, if I could get it to go there, then it would be tight. It ain't gonna move, it ain't gonna wiggle. but I don't think it would even if I did cut those off. So I'll play with it a little more, do a little wiggling, and see what I can come up with. Okay, so something you want to do, maybe, when you go to do the test fit, you know, it was a while back when I did the test fit on this, and I don't remember seeing this part of the frame bumper mount sticking out like that, and I don't remember seeing this one. So it might be because none of this was painted, you know, so it just didn't jump out at me. You do have to cut part of this off down here to get the bumper on. That's in the instructions. So, I mean, I had the cutting tools out at the time and everything, but this piece right here, I was kind of on the fence. Like, I don't know, will it bother me? Will it not bother me? I wasn't sure. And it's the wife's Jeep, so I called her up at the house, and she doesn't really like them. So I'm going to draw a line on there, on each one, and then pull this all apart again, cut those off with a cut-off wheel and a grinder. I'll have to protect the grill. So I'll pull all this stuff off, set it aside, trim those off, sand them, touch up, paint them, and then put this all back on, get it back to this point. And then now I should be able to start tightening this stuff down. This side here is almost in all the way. The bolts are coming through the hole. Just had to do a little bit of wiggling. I wiggled on this side a little bit, and that one started going in. Came over here, did a little wiggle on this side, and grabbed the top of the winch here. Wiggled it at the same time I was wiggling this bar. I could put my hip against this bar and kind of wiggle it while I was pushing in and pull up on the winch and just kind of jiggle it, and it found its home and slid in. So we'll see what it's like for it to come apart. Okay, so we got the whole thing on, light bar and everything. So everything just took a little bit of finesse. You've got this bolt here, these two down here, and then one right out here on the outside, right there. That's all one bracket. So I left that loose till the end. I tightened up those bolts in there, which are right behind this plate here. They're built into the bumper. There's 4 of them on each side. So when I got it on there pretty close, I started those nuts and just drew the bumper in the rest of the way. And then I just massaged those brackets around a little bit. I took my dead blow, took the back of one dead blow, put it against there, hit it with the other one, you know, kind of move it around until it was in the sweet spot so that these bolts would just screw right in and out without any resistance. And then I got everything else tight. Then I tightened up those. And then to get this ground wire on back here, the plate right here is up in the way. So I actually had to take the bolts out of the bottom of this. I didn't have them tight. I just had them hand tight so I could adjust this around a little bit. I had to lift it up. I put some shims underneath it from underneath the machine through that hole. I lifted this up, set some shims underneath it to move that up so I could get a socket on that. And then you'll see this wire right here is coming out of this side. That's not the way they come. They come, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if I can get some light on it. Right down in there, there's a hole you can just barely see. So the wire's supposed to come out right there. Well, that would put it right into the middle of this down there. And this winch wouldn't fit. So I was able to line that up just right. Okay, so that's actually a PCV valve grommet. And I got a step bit, and I just drilled through there. There's not a whole lot of meat left on the bottom because this piece comes off to get into the wires. But that worked out pretty decent. That comes right out of here. And then I'll try to find a plug, although I can't really get my finger down in there anymore. I was going to put one of those little rubber or plastic plugs in that hole. I'll still try to do that at some time. So then I was able to, right up here, I dropped a small rope down through there, and then you're able to see it when I look through the fender well right here. Able to see it hanging down, so I grabbed that, shoved it through there, got it right out here, and then put electrical tape on those wires, taped them both together with a little stagger, taped that rope on it. So then when I was trying to push those wires in, I could be pulling up on it at the same time. So that goes right in between there, right up through that. Comes up through here, around the power steering bottle, around the air cleaner. Ran it right down along here. And then I curved them around. So the ground, let's see here if I can, yeah, you can see that. So the ground goes down here, curves around, hooks right there. Positive goes around here, hooks in the back of this, comes back around into that. I didn't have any good spot to mount. I didn't want to drill into the firewall or this. And I thought, you know, these heavy wires on here, that thing's going to pretty much ride. So it sits like that. I might take some Velcro or some double stick tape and put right there on the side of it, just so that it sits and doesn't move at all. I don't think a little movement will hurt it. Maybe I'll strap it up around this. I'll do a little more beautifying to that. But that got it to where it works. So then I was able to, I turned that on, and I grabbed that wireless remote, push this button right up here until the red light goes on. So then it's ready to go. Right underneath this side piece is the switch. You flip that switch on. Oh, it's actually on right now. You flip that switch on, and then that wireless remote works. If you want a wired remote, you plug into there, and it plugs in to right there. And this thing will go off automatically after 2 minutes, I believe it is. So then they recommend that you run 70 feet of that line out. I believe it said it leaves 5 wraps on. Hook that to something solid, like if you're on a gravel road, they said just hold the brakes and let the winch do the work. Have someone inside and someone out here, and just wind that rope on there nice and tight to each other as it's going across, and as it comes back. The final wrap, they said, does not need to be pulled tight like that. And everything I saw in the reviews and on the picture on the box, even, you see the picture on the box, looks like the hook just sits there nice like a factory 55, which I was thinking, I wonder how that works, because this pin should actually be farther forward, so there's some meat behind and some back to make it lay flat. But I only saw one picture of a machine that it wasn't laying straight. Well, I pulled it into mine, and it goes forward, and then it cocked down a little. I get it to sit straight. It's kind of cocked out a little. So I figured for right now, I just threw a zip tie around that, around the hole down here in the bumper, so that that won't rattle. That'll stay nice and straight, and then I'll work on doing something else to that. Maybe I'll buy a factory 55 one to put on that. We'll see. Don't really want to. If it was something you could weld to, I'd just weld a plate sticking out, and then when it runs in, it would touch here, and that would make it lay flat. But do a little more playing with it, see what I can come up with. But for now, that'll work. Always got a knife with me if I need the winch. I'll be able to pop that loose. Better than having a rattle. So then this bracket here that I made for the LED light bar, that's run down. Just run it down along with these. And I tied that into the factory running light plug. This comes with Deutsch connector and a pigtail coming off of the Deutsch connector, which is a waterproof connector if you're not aware of those. And then I got some crimps that solder and heat shrink. So where I connected the factory wiring to that pigtail, crimp it, heat it up, it shrinks the outside of it, and some solder in there is supposed to come out and melt. It's supposed to be a waterproof connection. Plus I wrapped them up real nice with some tape, put some dielectric grease around it. And then just zip tied everything up underneath so there's nothing hanging down. It's all tucked in there. And voila. There it is. And we will try to get a picture of that outside to add to this. And if I do it before I post this video, I'll show some little shots of running that winch out. It does move very fast, so that's pretty nice. So, as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Push that little bell notification. That'll help me out, and it'll let you know when I have another video post. So, we will catch you on the next one. All right, have a good day. Okay, so there's what the bumper looks like done out in the light with the new Badlands 12,000 pound winch and the LED light bar, powder coated bumper. So there we go. We got the back bumper to do next. That'll be in an upcoming video. We'll get that one there changed out later on, get rid of that.